What's up, guys? I have watched Scream 6 twice now in theaters, so I can give you a proper ranking. Now it's time to rank all 6 Scream movies. Let's go! What's up, guys? Exciting day. It's time for a brand new ranking. We're going to rank the Scream movies after Scream 6. Like I said in the intro, I have seen the movie twice now. I can give you a ranking, and I think it'll probably settle. I feel pretty confident about, after the second viewing, where it's going to go, okay? So, luckily, too, this is going to be a shorter video because it's only 6 movies, all right? So, I don't even have to, look at anything. I mean, I can pretty much memorize where these 6 movies are going to go, right? Oh, and by the way, guys, I wanted to dedicate this video to Rocklin Graves Productions, one of my newest patrons. If you have a certain tier, I will dedicate a video to you. And he actually has a channel on YouTube. I'll put a link so you guys can go check out his channel. But I appreciate all my patrons and all the support you guys give me. So, Rocklin Graves Productions, this one's for you, brother. Thank you. Back to the video. Also, if I can get this out beforehand, on Friday night, I'm going to be doing a different ranking, Scream and Halloween. All 19 movies, both franchises, live on DD Live. Going to be doing the entire run. And it'll be fun because I can get your rankings. I can respond to you yelling at me, throwing all kinds of crazy crap at me. It's going to be a lot of fun. I always look forward to it, okay? So anyway, let's jump right into it. Number 6 is Scream 3. And I'll go ahead and say this out the gate. I like Scream 3. I like every single one of these Scream movies. And this is easily the most consistent franchise. I applaud them for what they're doing with these movies and constantly putting quality over quantity. You know, they always turn out a good, fun, and I think that's the key word, just energetic roller coaster ride of a movie. And so Scream 3, I think, is probably the worst because it's set in Hollywood. It does feel a little campish at times. But again, there's still a lot of fun to be had. I think the third act saves the movie with Roman. It is the one movie, spoilers ahead, by the way, all these are going to be spoilers. It is the one movie that has one killer. I like that about Scream 3. It's something different, you know? Parker Posey is a revelation. I love Parker Posey to death. She steals every freaking... She steals the movie from Gale, if that makes sense. She's so good in this and so fun. And I don't think I appreciated her enough on the first few watches, but now as time goes by, I love her to death. You got the Courtney Cox bangs, really bad haircut. And also Sydney is just as good in this movie. I think I might even prefer Sydney in Scream 3 over some of the other entries. She's that good in this. And you know, she could only shoot for a limited number of days, but they made them count, you know? And I like how Sydney was kind of away from everybody, and then she had to come into the fold, and she had to take on Roman herself. So a lot of fun with Scream 3. So number 5 is going to be Scream 5. This is one of those movies I think I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 the first time I saw it. I thought it was okay. I thought it might have played it safe a little bit. I thought the production value to me at the time didn't seem like it was up to par with some of the earlier movies, but I think I was wrong on that. I think it was just that this did feel different than the previous movies, you know, because those were Wes Craven's movies. These were Radio Silence's movies, and I think I just needed to settle into that, which I did. I think Sam and Tara, this is a good beginning for them. Especially Sam. You know, a lot of people harped on Melissa Barrera's acting. I never had a problem with her acting, even in Scream 5. So I never understood that. I thought she was fun. I'll admit, when I first saw this movie, it took me a while to warm up, a few watches to warm up to the core cast. I guess the core 4 now, we'll call them. I didn't really care for them as much on the first couple of viewings. As time has went on, as does some of these franchises, and with the inclusion of Scream 6 now, I love the core 4. And so it's fun to go back and watch Scream 5, you know, I guess in hindsight. Great kills. One of the best openings, and maybe I'll do like a live, you know, ranking the Scream openings, because that would be a different ranking. This is definitely one of the best openings. I loved it. And it was cool that Tara didn't die, you know. I don't think that had ever been done before. I do think they kind of shoehorned in Gale and Sydney. But Dewey, this might have been his best performance out of the entire franchise. I absolutely loved older, grizzled Dewey. Give me that all day. It's a shame that he died. It would have been cool to see him in 6. Okay, number 4, and I pondered back and forth on this one. You know what? I'm gonna go with Scream 4. And I love Scream 4 to death. And for a long time, Scream 4 used to be my number 2 until a certain movie overtook it. Is that the right word? But, you know, I maintain that Scream 4, I love the darker approach to it. I like that the kills are a bit bloodier. I think Jill, Emma Roberts, is the standout. Like, she is flat out amazing in this, and I loved the last act. She really saves the last act. I like Charlie. You know, Charlie does get a bad rap. You know what? I loved that the killer was actually giving the rules. Has that ever been done before? Is Scream 4 the only one where the killer was actually giving the rules, you know, of remakes and where we are currently in horror? People don't really talk about that, but that is kind of a cool aspect of this movie. The big problem with Scream 4, of course, is the cinematography. It looks very yellow. It looks weird. And I think when you put it amongst all the other movies, it sticks out like a sore thumb, you know? I don't know why they didn't go with the same exact shooting conditions, you know, like the rest of the movies. Just imagine if Scream 4 actually looked like the rest of the Scream movies. I think it would have raised it up a couple notches. But also Kirby, man. This is the best version of Kirby. I'll say that right now. Kirby is okay in Scream 6, but in Scream 4, I mean, this is a character that just steals the show. And she's like one of us. I mean, guys, answer me in the comments. I kind of prefer Kirby over Andy. And I know that's sacrilege, okay? But I love Kirby to death. Which brings me to number 3, Scream 6. How did we get here, okay? And when I first gave my out-of-theater reaction, I should never do out-of-theater reactions, especially for big genre movies that I love, like Scream and Halloween. I always get myself in trouble because, man, I was just in a funk. And maybe it was my mood that day, and maybe it was my expectations because it turned out different. And I think maybe it's because I was spoiled on the ending, and when I'm watching it, I'm constantly, it's like sensory overload when you're thinking about what you already know, but you don't know everything that's around what you know. It can kind of throw you for a loop. So when I went and watched Scream 6 the second time, it was like night and day. I enjoyed it so much more. It still had some of those problems, and I'll tell you the big problem right now with this movie is the plot armor. Yes, all the Scream movies have plot armor, but this one really sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, it's just so blatant and in your face. And you have, when somebody's getting stabbed, and this is a case where somebody died actually, but when somebody gets stabbed and gutted and the knife goes up, and then they're able to like climb out a window and crawl across a ladder, they wouldn't be moving, okay? And you know, I don't really have to convince you. You already know the plot armor, but it's a fun movie. It knows what it is. And you just sit back, eat your popcorn, and you enjoy it. I would even say Scream 6 might be the most popcorn movie of the entire franchise. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me on that. But man, I love the way this freaking movie looked. I love the ghost face, best ghost face I think out of the entire franchise. I'll say that right now. Wow. Reveal, pretty standard, but I'll even say I think I liked the reveal the second time too. I kind of enjoyed Quinn, especially Quinn, but Ethan too, and I would have liked more of them. You know, that's the only problem. But, you know, if you're gonna go psychotic, why not, right? By the way, guys, I know Walmart just put the Steelbook up for pre-order, and it looks glorious. So make sure you jump on that. So number 2 is Scream 2. Did you guys know that Scream 2 used to be, I think, in my least favorite movie of the bunch? And there were certain things I didn't like about it. I didn't really like the college setting as much back in the day. But man, there's just something about this movie that really came around to me. And I think this might be my favorite Sydney performance out of the franchise. I loved Sydney in this movie. And I'll just say it, the final act, it almost has like a Giallo type of feel to it. Very, you know, like a Greek mythology type thing, very almost operatic. And after I watched a lot of these Giallo movies, you know, a few years ago, and then coming back to Scream 2, I was like, oh wow, I'm kind of looking at Scream 2 in a different way now. You know, it's very operatic, I guess, in the last act. I absolutely adored it. One thing I like about Scream 2 as well is it had the balls to actually kill off characters that we already love to death, like Randy. Randy gets killed in the second movie, you know? Wes had the balls to do stuff like that. Kevin Williamson had the balls to do stuff like that. I often think if Randy wouldn't have been killed, we would have had an OG Core 4, and he would have been part of that. You know a character is beloved when they bring him back in the sequel after he's already dead. They find a way to do it, you know? The only thing I didn't like about Scream 2, and I still hold to that, is I guess it can get a little cheesy sometimes with the I Think I Love You dance in the mess hall. Is that what it's called? Yeah, that's the one scene with Derek that I didn't care for that much. But overall, I still love Scream 2 to death. So, number 1 is Scream, the first one, Scream 1, of course. I mean, no surprise there. It is one of the most important horror films, I'd even say ever, because this is like the Nirvana of horror. You know how Nirvana changed the landscape of music? Scream kind of changed the landscape of horror at the time, you know? I'm not saying horror was completely dead, but it was pretty damn close. I mean, there were still, I think, more mature types of horror films. We were really in that age of like the thriller, the serial killer type movie with like Seven and Silence of the Lambs. So horror was still around, but the slasher had been all but gone. And so then here comes Scream, and it's not just a slasher, it is fun. It injects so much adrenaline in the slasher genre. We're seeing characters in this movie that are pretty much the blueprint still to this day of characters in slasher movies. We can't get away from it. And maybe it's the times. I don't know. But this movie still feels so freaking fresh. Like Scream could come out today, it could come out a week from now, and it still feels new. It wouldn't stick out at all like a sore thumb. It would be a massive hit. I just know it. And I saw that movie and all Scream movies in the theater when they came out because I'm ancient. I'll even say the final act, you cannot top it. It's just that great, that impactful. And Billy and Stu, there's a reason why we still hear Stu is alive to this day, because people want that character to come back. They love that character so much. And we got Billy back in a way through Sam. So, yeah, man, you know what? Greatest opening, I think, not in just the franchise, but in horror history. That is one of the best openings ever. So yeah, that is my new ranking for the Scream franchise. Are you mad at me? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do Free Fun Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.